Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a Silverline show on Tuesday. I am your host, Tim TK, joined by Mr. Aaron Humphreys.
Yes.
And Jose Fuentes.
And that's it. That's it. Unless there's somebody else hiding.
Yes. And of course, we are known to talk about the most polarizing, controversial, and hot button subjects and news in comics and entertainment. That is right. They have confirmed that Chris Pratt will not be doing an Italian accent in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I almost kind of thought that was kind of a blessing for people who, I mean, like, do you really want... I never understood why they want... What is it with all these animated movies using super famous movie stars instead of just using actual voice actors?
And why is it Chris Pratt in every movie this year?
He's so... I don't know. I was like, dude, there's a guy's been doing Mario's voice for years. Why didn't you just get that guy?
Right.
But they want Chris...
Can't do that. That guy sounds like Mario.
Yeah,
I know. That's true. Well, it's funny because every time I see animated movie, like after they show the trailer for the movie, they have this huge list of all these famous people that are voicing it. I'm like, who cares? In other words, if you need all these famous people to sell your movie, then I guess your movie sucks to begin with.
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
well, we do have a pretty low bar with the last Mario Brothers movie. So
yeah, that's true.
What?
What was that?
What are you talking about?
I'm surprised they even. It's like
you're too young to remember that one properly.
This one's CGI, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yeah. I'm pretty sure every Italian ever breathed a sigh of relief.
Right.
Wait, I know that
yeah.
They made a Ratchet and Clank movie that was okay.
That was CGI as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 I know we're gonna make a Sly Cooper. It was weird because Sony was making a bunch of animated movies. I mean, they started with Ratchet and Clank and see if that would do well, and I don't know if it did well. And then they showed a trailer for a Sly Cooper one they were gonna do, and then that never materialized. And it's funny, so Sony didn't really do it, but now Nintendo's like, we'll make a Mario movie. I just think some of that stuff just works better in video games. I just don't really think we need an hour and a half movie.
Yeah, and Mario's not a title that's necessarily known for its intricate plot and story elements.
Yeah.
Have you not played Mario 2?
Because I was thinking. I remember when I watched Ratchet and Clank, there was like a decidedly lack of gunplay. It's like isn't that kind of the whole point of that game was shooting stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's like the whole thing is like, like, oh, we don't want to have a kids movie with a lot of it. It's like, well, it's space guns on robots. Like,
yeah,
it's the same reason why you can get away with shooting stormtroopers and rebels.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the old Transformer cartoons, they were actually pretty violent because robots. So they didn't. You can go for it because they can always just fix them later, right?
Yeah. See, Ironside, he just ripped that robot's arm off.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Transformers movie. I mean, how many kids were traumatized by that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Not enough.
Not enough. I know.
Yeah, no. We need more kids with entertainment-based trauma.
That's right.
I don't know. I mean, I know the Mario. I did see the Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, how's that?
I love that movie. That was great. It was probably one of the few sequels that I've really liked. I'm like, but then again, I grew up on. I remember coming in the theater.
Yeah, so, I saw Will Neff on Attack of the Show gave it a pretty good review. So.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet, but it's on the list. I did watch Disney's Jungle Cruise though. I thought that was interesting.
Okay,
that's on the isn't that on the streaming channel?
Yeah, the Disney Plus.
Yeah. Real quick, I don't say this. Hey, Phil Leon. If you guys don't know, he is a colorist with Silverline, and we'll get to the plug at the top of the hour. But if you want to see some of his work, you can back the Kickstarter right now. Oh yeah, baby! All right,
it is. That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, we already kind of got into it a little bit, but we like to start off every show talking about what we are ingesting, media wise, and or drinking, physically. But we going to talk a little bit about what we're watching, playing, reading, what have you at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aaron, what have you been? What's been your kick this week?
I've been strange enough. I've been hunkering down and really trying to finish up my Gollings book, which I'm like 12 pages away from.
You're actually
finishing the
working
whole-
on comics?
Yeah, go figure. And then I
Wait,
have to
is
put
that what I'm
this
supposed to be
big
doing?
Is that what we do here?
something.
I'm sorry, Aaron.
Strangely enough, though, I draw comics and play video games at the same time. I know
Yes.
people still fascinated that I do that, but I do.
I can't
Um,
focus that
I-
much all at once.
Load screens, strangely enough, take a long time. So between load screens and cutscenes, I actually finish a page a night playing a video game and drawing a comic.
Interesting.
Go
Wow.
Alright.
figure.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to draw more then.
The second Aaron gets an SSD, his productivity is going to tank.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've been playing Code Vein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good. I think it's kind of one of those things like it's got more story than most Dark Souls or
Yeah,
Soulsborne
it's one of the
games.
things. It's one of the first ones to kick off with the anime Dark Souls
Yeah.
yeah,
And
That-
it's so far.
that and near.
Yeah. I think I'm towards the end. Yeah, so far it's been fun. They give you like a lot of I love Dark Souls games. I play all the Dark Souls and Soulsborne and Bloodborne and all that. But you seem to start out with a build and then they give you new stuff later in the game, but the new stuff it's not worth going backwards and rebuilding it when you've already got stuff that's working for you because it takes so long to build something up. And they have a ton. And now I'm getting all sorts of like new abilities and gifts. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to go through and use those. I got my setup, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, continuing to watch Seinfeld. I've never
Nice.
seen it before, so I'm actually going through that.
Yeah. So now we're at 2 weeks. What are your thoughts after 2 weeks of Seinfeld?
I see. It's funny. I understand more. When I first started watching it, it's like a sitcom, but now I didn't realize it was so connected.
Mhm.
Like watching the show, I didn't realize how many inside jokes were in the show that they would
Yeah.
reference other episodes more than I thought.
Mhm.
Because usually, TV in the 80s and 90s were self-contained episodes. That
Yeah.
you could watch Star Trek, you didn't really know what went on in episodes.
Monster of the week. Yeah.
But this one is a little more connected than I thought,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of funny. And I think it's definitely one of those shows that you get more out of it watching it in a row, having those jokes fresh and trying to remember them. I will say that. Yeah, so far it's grown on me. I think it's definitely one of those shows I think took its time to come into its own. The first few seasons are okay. And then I'm on season 5, and now it's starting to hit its stride. It's been hitting its stride. I'm like, okay, like now you're getting a real feel for these characters.
Yeah.
Now you kind of get a feel who George and Kramer are. Okay, now I'm starting to see
It's one of those. I think Seinfeld and Friends kind of started the friend simulator paradigm that's now kind of like culminated with weekly podcasts.
Yeah.
The idea of it's just kind of it's not really much besides just a couple people talking and you're in there kind of coexisting with this conversation. And it all happens very naturally. Like there's throwbacks to things that happen as people normally would. Like we still throw back to
other shows and stuff.
Yeah, it was like, is Aaron going to mention Appleseed this week? Is Tim going to mention X-Men this week? Yeah, but it's it's sort of that thing where you felt very much a part of the conversation, even though you physically are not, just because it's such a mundane conversation that you're just happen to exist in the same time and space as.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. I can see this sort of Friends, and I think also it's definitely much more of a play of New York people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things about it is a lot of them get kind of petty and they complain about a lot of stuff, which, that's kind of part of the show. It's just people being irritated by generally nothing. And maybe New Yorkers are not this way, but I can see people in a big city get more irritated at things than other people. So, yeah, it definitely... I'm always kind of amazed at what they can get away with older sitcoms. There's a lot of stuff in there that would be offensive to people now, but back then Cheers is another one.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, the fact that the Sam character is such a womanizer, that's part of his character. But man, that would be people would be have tons of issues with that character
Oh
today.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think it's 9 seasons to it, so I'm like halfway
Something like
through.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got a decent. What was I? I started watching that Wheel of Time with my friend.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
I've heard mixed things coming from the book club. Hey Tommy.
Hey,
Eh,
Tommy.
I actually have the first of many religious books just hanging out on my shelf.
now is that the initial first book?
This
I
is
think
book
collection-
one. This is book one.
Okay.
13, about this size or maybe larger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend, she was really excited for it because she read the books and loved them.
Yeah.
But so
I've
far,
actually never read them.
yeah. And are they based on religious? Are they like based on like I know because C.S. Lewis was Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, obviously they do pull from certain things, but then more so there is more elements of almost like Eastern and Eurasian religion or philosophy influence.
Yeah, I definitely saw influence of Buddhism, especially with a lot of stuff they talked about the Wheel of Time. So yeah. So far it's pretty good. I'm just amazed at the visual effects and the things they can do in TV shows. I mean, it looks like a Lord of the Rings movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just that still like all the creatures look crazy good and cool, and I'm like, wow.
That's the thing that I'm looking forward to. Season 6 of The Expanse next month is it's only going to be 6 episodes with the budget that show has. Those are probably going to be like 6 of the best looking products ever put to TV.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard
We
rumors
can
that they
only do
wanted
6
to.
episodes, but they're going to be this much money per episode.
Yeah. Crazy how I mean they said that what was I think it was actually you, Tim, we were talking about the Mandalorian where
Mhm.
they said when they made it they really wanted to make it like a movie budget. They wanted to make
Yeah.
it look like that was the thing I was like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm kind of blown away at the fact that I have like TV series that look like motion picture. I mean, now movies have a run for their money.
Yes.
I mean, because they're
Let's-
doing it on
Right.
TV.
That's the thing. Like, well, things to be thankful for is the fact that Nerds won. It's like now, like
Yeah.
Right.
we have the highest grossing film franchises based on comic book.
Right.
Nerd culture television is getting the most money thrown at it.
Well, I mean, I thought I heard somewhere, and I could be wrong, but like I thought that I was talking to somebody. I don't remember who it was, but they had mentioned like they were like, you can't do a Star Wars TV like show and whatnot and make it as great budget wise with the movies and whatnot. And like John Favreau is pretty much like, here, hold my beer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
watch this.
Yeah,
Like,
because
so I-
it's because that was the thing growing up with movies for like us. Because I think you're close to my age, Jose. Was when we saw movies, that was all the budget and the visual effects, and they couldn't do that on television. You couldn't get it to look like that on TV.
Right.
And now that you are, and that's why you went to movies back then. It's like we go to the movies to see that. I mean, the idea of them putting like the AT-AT battle or the Battle of Hoth on the television show would be crazy, but now they do that. So yeah, I'm kind of, and some shows still hold up. I mean, the Star Trek Next Generation still holds up.
Mhm.
There's some of them still, but it is definitely one of those things that it kind of blows my mind that I'm seeing this on television doing this,
Yeah.
especially the fantasy movies, because fantasy never got a lot of love, more science fiction
Mhm.
than fantasy. So seeing some of the because it was always the creature designs and the fantasy and stuff, but the way they did some of the battle scenes in this one, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot less episodes. In most seasons, when I grew up, were 26 episodes. They're like,
Right. Between
like
22 and 26.
yeah, this
Yeah.
one, I mean, I think it's only 8 episodes in this first season. And there's a lot of shows that are like that. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, it's like, I think what The Mandalorian are like 8 or 10 episodes a season, something like that.
And
Yeah,
so,
me and my wife introduced my dad to it because my dad doesn't really like watch any streaming anything. You know what I mean? We call my dad Machete because in the movie Machete, like he doesn't like Machete doesn't do this, Machete doesn't text, Machete doesn't do anything. And I made a comment about like, hey, to my brother, I was like, hey, will you have dad text me? And he texted my brother texted me back. He's like, my Chete don't text. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So my Chete don't do Facebook. My Chete don't, So that's what we call my dad. My dad, we call my dad my Chete because he doesn't do any of these things.
He's not going to.
Yeah. Like I taught him how to use Spotify on his phone, and he like lost his mind. Like the world was like, we came and discovered a new world.
So has he like committed to growing out the Danny Trejo mustache yet, or?
You're right.
Yeah.
He already has. He's had it his whole life.
Perfect.
Oh,
My
man.
dad, other than tattoos, my dad used to be that traditional Mexican. You know what I mean? Mustache, hair feathered back.
Yep.
That was my dad.
It's so funny. I remember an interview with Danny Trejo. It was the funniest thing. What was it? He was saying, like, I read a lot of scripts. People hand me a lot of scripts. It's like, yeah, we want a character. This guy should look like Danny Trejo, and he's all like, so why didn't you call me? I'm right. You know, why do you need? I mean, I'm right here.
Yeah.
The poor guy was like, how much work am I not getting because I need somebody that looks like me but is not me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's a funny guy.
I love him. Yeah.
His story is just crazy. Like he was in prison and whatnot, and then he got out of prison, like straight up prison, like did lots of
It
years
was
in
armed
prison.
robbery, I think
And like
he said.
the day he got out of prison, he stepped into something. They were doing casting and whatnot. He just happened to show up, and not even really to act. And they're like, "Listen, we want you because of the way you look. We need a Mexican crackhead." He's like, "I can do that."
I heard it was like and he's like, from there I just started getting into movies because I look like this guy that would beat up your grandmother or something. And he's like this, and he's like, I just kept getting work, and he never pursued acting in any way. He didn't I don't think he went to school for it or anything. He just I look, mean, and people need a mean dude. He's not. I mean, he seemed like a totally nice guy.
Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, he was straight. I think he served time for armed robbery or something. Yeah, he came out and was a hard life and went straight into like, I'm Danny Trejo, I guess.
Like an entire flip of what his life was before prison, and
it's
then
just complete fluke.
Like bam! I was like,
yeah, he didn't
cow.
pursue acting. He didn't get out to try to find it. It's just a complete fluke that he is where he's at. And a fascinating guy. The Machete. It's funny they made the first one. I can't remember if I saw the second one, but it was just so funny. Like when he's like jumping out of the window on the guy's intestines. Did you ever see the movie? I just love it. It's just great. I could just see his look on his face when he's reading this. Like, we just need to go balls to the wall and just do this crazy stuff. But yeah,
right. It's like it's funny. Like people make jokes when like Italians are supposed to watch Godfather.
Yeah,
if they don't. Then that's like Mexicans are supposed to watch Blood In, Blood Out and American Me.
Yeah,
like we're supposed to watch it. If we don't watch it, we can't walk around with our heads up high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if there any Caucasian movies we have to watch. Friends. I've never watched Friends. Maybe I lost my white cred there. I've never liked, and I have seen Friends on at night, and I can only watch like 5 or 10 minutes, and it's just depressing to me because I'm like, yeah, I know white people act this. I wish it did. I wish this wasn't such a representation of the people I know, but it so is, and so it's just depressing. I got to turn it off.
That's the one thing I do is that if you're having any Scandinavian roots, you're supposed to watch Vikings.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's what you have to. I remember.
Or for Canadian, you have to watch Letterkenny.
That's
Yes.
I worked in.
Have you watched Letterkenny? Have you heard of Letterkenny? Oh, it's so good. It is about a couple guys living in a small town in central Canada. They inherited the family farm, and it's a town with rednecks, skids, which are goths, and preps, and that's
funny.
It's so the goths and preps fight all the time.
Yes, and jocks. Yeah, hockey players are the jock group. They're the preps, but yeah, it's so good. And the guys
who said from my age, like my time period, maybe even a little bit before, I would have said the Red Green Show because that show was amazing.
Nice.
I was a big fan of Kids in the Hall. That was my Canadian show. It was more of a skit show.
Yeah.
So what streaming channel is this on? Can you watch it?
Letterkenny is on Hulu now. Yeah.
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, yeah.
Okay.
And my Hulu active.
Yeah, and the guys who write it are very smart. The wordplay is like unparalleled for anything I've seen in a while.
Which just sounds funny, goths fighting nerds. You know,
Yeah.
I remember I was in Portland. I was coming off the Max, which is our local like light rail train system, and I saw these two people like dressed from head to toe, just goth, black and all of that, and they're pushing a little kid, and I just kind of looked at them, and I was like, "Oh man, game over." And like, you got a kid, but I looked. I can't remember if the kid was dressed in black, but I'm sure it is. Have you guys ever seen the "I'm So Goth" list?
Yes.
Like, I'm so goth. Like, was it my black is so black like a Ben's light or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, those things are hilarious. It's really hard for me to take the goth people seriously, and I have tried. I love Halloween, and I get it. Like, if you dress goth and you don't take it seriously, we're good. But if you dress goth and like think you're an actual vampire or witch,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's what, like, I belong to a certain subtype of goth called pastel goth.
I have a friend who's one.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing until he told me about it.
Yeah, so like I have my pastel underneath this, but yeah, it's pretty much like it's a goth, but also like you rock like floral Hawaiian shirts, but you'll like
Right.
you'll absolutely windmill someone in a mosh pit.
Yeah, I don't know. I try and then I guess the thing I always gets me about goths more than anyone, true goths, is how much work it takes for them to get ready in the morning.
Mm.
I'm lucky if I find a fresh T-shirt to wear. I'm just like they hit the makeup and the black. I'm like, that just seems like a lot of work.
You have to put on like your hat, your 3-ounce skull ring, and make sure that like it's
right, with or without the spikes on it.
This one,
your day.
Yeah, exactly. This one's spikeless, but if I'm feeling extra spicy, I'll put like the leather wrist straps and like the pink earrings. Yeah.
Yeah, I had
I guess you're
growing
pastel
up
goth.
that were goth.
That's the thing. Yeah. The things I'll probably confuse Aaron the most if we do meet up whenever we do meet up in Portland, it'll be one, how the pastel goth vibe just is, and also my body proportions are very awkward.
I'd be like, oh, hey, Mister
Vampire.
Nice, Phil.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, the work hours will get you.
I watched a documentary. It was on vampires, and I remember like they were talking about different vampires. This lady came on and said that she was like an emotional vampire. She feeds off people's emotions or feelings, but she was really serious about this. And I'm just like, it's very hard for me to. You could be whatever you want to be or think it is whatever you want to be. But also that gives me the ability to also not get it and be kind of like, you shouldn't make fun of people. I'm like, okay, people make fun of me all sorts of stupid stuff. So if you're doing stupid stuff, I get to make fun of you to a degree. If you get to make fun of stupid stuff I do, that goes both ways. It doesn't go one way.
It's like tennis, volley it back.
Exactly. It's like I don't razz on anyone's thing until they razz on me. I'm like, okay, so this is our relationship.
Yeah, and then it's open gates.
Yeah.
And this stuff I just don't get, but I think she says she stands around people and like feeds off their emotions. Like, can you stand?
So I want to be Colin from What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh yeah,
I want to be that guy. He's hilarious.
That was my favorite. That guy's based on what I'm talking about. There's people who
I
think that.
If you want to be a vampire in your own home game, you can buy now. Use code
little plug.
Yeah, we're not.
I remember the first time.
Hey, White Wolf Paradox, sponsor us, please.
That's right.
I remember the first time I ever heard of Masquerade the Vampire. I was going to the Kubert school. I only went there for a few months, and he was trying to explain to me like it's a role playing game. Oh, you just done a play. It's like, no, you played it like around the city, and I was like, what? Like you what?
Oh, you're talking about live action? Like
where they go to people's houses and it's like live action.
Yeah,
I was just like,
I've done that. I've done LARP. I ran LARP. That was interesting and fun when I did it. I had a logic in my mind that I had told my wife, like, listen, if I'm still playing when I'm like 35, kill me.
Yeah.
I was like, everything has its expiration date. And don't get me wrong, I love it and I think it's fun and I love the acting aspect to it. You know what I mean? But by that point, I've already got kids. I'm not going to go out and hang out with other kids. I'll stay home and do tabletop.
Yeah, what's really funny, we have a I'm not sure if they're as active now, but we in our part of Salem we have a boffing group, and they're split between things like boffing is essentially fighting with sparring or foam swords. So they have like their entry level group, which
Like-
is LARPing,
That's not what that name meant when I was a kid.
right?
I was gonna say
I was like, yeah. Even Jose's like, yeah,
No,
we knew what that.
Yeah, but then they have
that's why my face. I was like, what?
so they
Yeah,
have their LARPing group, and then they also have a group that's connected with a HEMA gym, which HEMA is historical European martial arts, which is sword
Okay.
fighting and fighting in armor. So
Okay.
like, all right, so you go from LARPing to okay, great. Now here's like 2 hours of training in actual like sword fighting techniques and manuals, and like, okay, here's your competition date.
You're
I
right.
just, when you
Jeez.
first
It's like
told
you
me,
just leveled up.
I thought they were like roaming around the streets, like jumping out and like attacking their friends for fun or whatever, like on the street.
Yeah,
Like I didn't realize it was something like you'd be like driving out, like there's what's there guys, vampires, get them.
Mhm.
Now that's what I would do with my friends. It wouldn't be a very. I don't think we play by the rules. Like we just like I think
I
Jose's
mean,
like
one
yeah,
of the
that's what I
first
do with my
rules
friends
is
too.
don't touch anyone.
Jump out
Like right
get
off the
it,
bat, Arrow jump out like, okay, you're done. Like
You're
I've
done.
been playing for like 2 minutes. He's like, yeah, you're done.
So I was gonna ask an odd question of vampires. I'll even put this to the board. So what was vampire? I was watching what was some vampire show where vampire lady had a child. Do you feel like even as dumb as it is, that vampires could have kids since they're technically undead?
Yeah, but go ahead, Tim.
it depends on your canon, I guess.
Yeah.
If like it's I mean, if it's like Bram Stoker or the Masquerade style vampire, then technically all their organs are also dead. They don't have blood flow, and in the Masquerade style canon, which is based off of I'm probably gonna butcher it, but I believe it's Croatian Serbian mythology,
Yeah.
the Amada Strigoi type thing. The blood is actually more sentient than the organs are because the blood is what carries the power. But
Okay.
everything else is dead on the inside, and it's just like this weird semi-sentient thing living in their blood now that keeps them alive.
Because it seems.
But
it always
if you're
seemed
like,
yeah.
if it's more like English style, where it's just a form of coming back to life, like English vampires or French vampires, and then again,
Maybe,
like the more modern contextual stuff that got popularized in like in the 80s and 90s, where it's you're just unalive. You're not necessarily brought back from the dead. Yeah,
Right. Because I think wasn't like Interviewing a Vampire. They brought one of the I know like the small girl, the Kirsten Dunst character was a small girl because they wanted a child, but she
yeah.
was
Well,
never
child. So you
made.
have to. Yeah. So that's the thing where that style where you have to embrace
So,
a toddler,
yeah, so
but then
Yeah.
they can't grow up.
Louis had to stay.
Yeah.
A kid, because I always thought I see because there's been a few movies where vampires have, and I'm trying to think of what this guy was. What was I?
I know that was the thing that happened in Twilight, where a vampire, but she was a human when they had the kid.
Yeah. Because I'm like, if they can make other
Yeah.
vampires by biting you and then reproduce sexually, that's two ways for them to make vampires. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it's fantasy. You could do whatever you want. I mean, you can make
Exactly.
whatever you
Yeah.
want.
It's
But
made
it
up.
was just one of those things where I see them have it. I'm like, well, that seems kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, would I do that if I wrote vampires? Probably not. But I mean, if it serves the story, I guess. I think like wasn't the Underworld series was very big because it was like she was a vampire and he was a werewolf, and it was supposed to be like if they had an offspring, wasn't supposed to be like, oh, didn't that already was not the thing that already happened in the Underworld series? Like, wasn't one of the guys like half werewolf, half vampire? And
Something like that. Yeah.
I can't remember if he was born that way or made that way.
So, there was it Marcus? Marcus was the one that was already half a werewolf that got embraced or turned into a vampire.
Yeah,
And then there's
And
that
then
masquerade
in the
doll.
first-
And go,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that. I'm
they
telling you,
embraced. Yeah.
or anyway, but yeah, and was it the end of the first movie? She made Michael Corbin, I think his name was, turned like he got bit and whatnot,
And he was a vampire and werewolf, and it was some
Well, he got
abomination.
bit first because he got hurt and Leeson bit him, and then he got hurt. And in order to save him, then
what's her name? I think
Celine had to bite him.
And so it was like this, and it seemed like in that movie it was relatively pretty easy to make a hybrid, considering this, and like for thousands of years no one had accidentally, or then they said they accidentally did do that and they killed him or something. I don't know. I can't remember. I actually thought that series
I actually liked the prequel. Like that was supposed to be like the second or third movie.
Yeah.
That
the
was
one
like
they explained
the Rise of the Lycans. Yeah, I like that one way better than the other ones because then it started getting really weird, futury stuff.
Well, the guy who played Michael was taken out of it, and then there was some other stuff going on. There was some, by the end of it, it kind of like needed to die a few movies beforehand. The prequel was good. The first one, I think the second one I didn't think was bad, but there was like a third or fourth, or I don't know. There was a bunch more, and I saw them, and like there were some good parts and bad parts, but they definitely had a good idea. Behind the lore of the werewolves. I did love the way they did the werewolves. I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
How they showed them transform, like the bones are cracking and
stuff.
Well,
the dude, the big black dude, werewolf guy, wasn't he the one that wrote it, or did some of the writing for it? He also does write the comic. Like he makes the comic.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even know there was a comic. I remember watching that.
Not comic for Underworld. He actually makes his own comic.
Oh, really? Yeah, that guy was cool, and his voice was great for the werewolf. I mean, that gravelly voice. I mean, he was just like the perfect werewolf character. I mean,
Kevin Grivox, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That was the dude. Yeah. He actually is a comic book creator. He has his own comic thing going on.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I didn't know that. I did like the show. And I actually thought about if they're ever to make a vampire TV series or whatever, they should make one on Underworld. That show just seems like set up for werewolves and vampires fighting over. I mean, does not seem like a Game of Thrones in the making for a TV series. Yeah. So, yeah. And I did read that they're making not only an Aliens TV series, but a Blade Runner TV series. I'm not really sure what yeah.
Well, anyway, we do have a subject to.
Are we talking about a subject?
Yes.
Did we make it to the hour? Is that what happened?
Jose, what have you been watching, playing, reading?
I'm still watching Murdoch Mysteries because I think it's a great period piece. Victorian Canada detective doing cutting edge science, incorporating Tesla coils and all kinds of stuff. It's really neat. And then I started watching season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows, which, like I said, just makes me love Colin that much more. I love the guy; he's so great.
Me and my friends started watching season 3. Have they finished the season? Is it all on?
Oh, I have no clue. I'm on like episode 3. Like I haven't.
I wonder. I think we're watching it, and then I think we quit watching it. We should go back and watch it. We really got into Res Dogs. The Native Americans on the reservation.
Yeah.
Is that any good? Because I actually want to watch it, but like I want to watch it and be like, "Mom, don't be offended, please. Just give me a minute to."
It's actually made by the same guy who made What We Do in the Shadows.
Is it really?
Yeah, cool. Same guy. Yeah, if you like it, it's definitely. I mean, I thought it was good. I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, now you talk about What We Do in the Shadows. I don't think I finished watching season 3, but yeah, I watched them all. So. Anybody reading any new comic books?
I finally got in my third book for my Delilah Dirk.
Oh yeah,
which is I love these books, man. They're like digest sized, right?
Nice.
Yeah. So I got all 3 of them, and the dude that created them was Tony Cliff. He's doing the artwork and the writing for it and whatnot. It's just amazing. And on his website, DelilahDirk.com or something like that, he actually posts like the first issue, like as he's doing it. So like the pages for the first issue, and then after he gets so far, and then like he's like, "This is where you can buy the book." By the way,
nice.
But yeah,
I've never heard Delilah Dirk. I have to put it.
I didn't either. I saw a piece of art for it, and I kind of backtraced it to figure out where it came from.
Yeah,
and it was over. It's like Indiana Jones meets Laura Croft and some 1912 or something like that.
Yeah.
Is it more of a young adult read? those are
think
the kind
so.
that like. I usually
Yeah.
hunt down young adult comics. I think they do really cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, like I said, check it out. Delilah Dirk. I think it's DelilahDirk.com. I mean, not to plug somebody else.
Reservoir Dog, very respectful and on
He
point.
produces it.
Yeah, and not only Native American cast, but writers too. Yeah, so that's one thing I knew they did well. Is they got the people who are writing it have lived that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like I just, I made that as kind of a joke because my mom is very into like our Native American heritage and past
Yeah.
and whatnot, and so like I make jokes about to my mother, and she's like, "You need to stop." So I'm like, "But mom." Like,
There was one of my favorite shows about Native Americans that we saw was one called Smoke Signals.
Mm.
And that's like a comedy. This guy, he goes out and does something, but it's almost kind of like a precursor to Reservoir Dogs, a little bit in the same tone. It was really funny. If you can find it, he's this guy with glasses, and they keep arguing over who makes the best fry bread and stuff. It's called Smoke Signals. If you can hunt it down the movie, it's worth it. It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it reminded me a lot of Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Or Res Dogs.
Reservation.
Res Dogs, yeah, because Reservoir Dogs is a movie that's much earlier.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino, yeah. But they did. I remember we watched that, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I have to check out that comic series he's talking about because I'm still looking.
I just read through issue 1 of Berserker. I got the trade in the mail this week.
How is that?
Yeah, I love it. I have stated before on the show that I am a fan of the more ridiculous you can make something, the more I'm into it.
Yeah.
Which I'll also get into the other thing I read this week. But it is that, but also it's a really good job of. So you have the weird Warren Ellis effect where if done really well, you can have a lot of silent panels, but still have the page take forever to get through because you're just digesting the visual storytelling of it and the quality of the art. And they do a lot where there's a lot of details in how the art's presented. It's not just stills of a face and no background. There's actual like elements moving and telling the story with having a character who prefers not to talk. So it's a really good communication between the writers, Keanu Reeves being one of them, and the artist working on that. So it's really, it feels like you're reading an art exhibit at points.
Yeah.
But a very violent art exhibit. In the first issue, they are breaching a room trying to find the president of a Central American military junta, which if you don't know, it's a military government that's overthrown the democratically elected government.
Basically a coup.
A coup. So some geopolitics for you. So we're trying to find this dictator, and the guy, dictator. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
The berserker breaches the room without using he has firearms, but he doesn't use them at this point. He just uses his hands. He punches through some dude or rips out his collarbone or rib cage, one of his ribs, and then stabs another guy with it.
Nice.
Before they I'm sold. Two panels I'm in.
If you're gonna stab somebody, you might as well use somebody else's rib.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason not to. Now,
Right?
is the series an ongoing series, or does it
Yes. So it's an ongoing series by Boom. They do have floppies, but I am collecting it through trades.
To trade, okay.
Yeah, because it just makes it easier for me to go on to Amazon when trade 1 is in, pre-order trade 2. I'll get it when it gets here.
Yeah.
I
was
that.
reading. What is it? I read I did finish reading Blade of the Immortal. I'm all caught up to volume 3, and
Nice.
I need to buy volume 4. I did read. There was what was that comic? Do I have that here, or is that out there? I think it's somewhere else. There was an independent comic in Portland called The Seekers of the Sun or something like that. That was kind of a fun comic, and that was just this independent comic. Yeah, here they are. It was some little independent comics some guy did in Portland, and so I know if you find these in Portland somewhere, Portland, Oregon, they're worth it. He only has 3 of them so far.
Okay.
But she takes care of she's almost the embodiment of like summer, like the season of summer, and she goes around and goes on these adventures, like taking care of these sun seeds that bring the sun. But I don't know, it's pretty cool. I mean, he made like kind of a whirl. I like that one. The one I checked out this one called Sithra. Have you heard of this?
I think you told me about that a little bit before.
It's done by Jason Brubaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the more interesting comics I've read because the layout of some of the pages is just bizarre. It's like half kids book. Like they'll turn a page and it'll be like just that.
Yeah.
You know, the way he paces it out, and then he'll do stuff like now it's a storybook with the words. And so he goes from comic to storybook, and it's very it's very fascinating. A lot of like this is one of the pages that looks like a kid's book with the words, and he'll do this all the time. Very interesting so far. Apparently, there's 6 in the series, so I need to get 5 more of them. But anybody who plays around with formats of comic, like words and pictures in different ways, I'm hooked. I love that stuff. Like trying to combine like kids books with comic books with regular books, and some of that stuff can be really fascinating.
Yeah,
and he seems to do a lot of that. I guess that first one was in 2014, so it's an older series. But yeah, so that's one I read, and I read that last night. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So I definitely want to find the other ones.
The other thing I'm reading is actually it's an older book, and it is a Marvel title. So for those of you playing Silverline Bingo, you can check off. Tim talks about X-Men. This is X Club, which was a like offshoot they did right after the Schism event. So this is a science team led by Dr. Nemesis.
I remember that.
Yeah, Kavita Rao, Danger, and Madison Jeffries. So like just the weirdest, most like techie, nerdy X-Men, minus Forge, who was with Wolverine at the time, but this was when they are fighting time Nazis, like literal time traveling Nazis through different dimensions. And Dr. It was written by Simon Spurrier. So Sai was like on something when he was writing Nemesis's dialogue during this comic. I posted a shot to my Facebook as my banner, but Nemesis gets a mutated starfish stuck to his head. And the starfish mutation is it's an empath, so it relates his internal dialogue to the people around him.
Oh my god!
So Nemesis being this very standoffish, very like holier than thou man of science, and this starfish is relating all of his like inner embarrassing thoughts. It's fantastic, but it has such. One-liner gems such as nanobots are passe, pal. Punching is forever. Fly my pretty, fly me to Explodo, justice on the crackling wings of science.
Was this a mini-series or something?
Yeah, it was 5 issues. Yeah. Eat viral liquefaction, unethically cloned carbon waste. I'll put my science in you. I'll put my science in all of you. I was reading this. I'm just dying reading all the how we writ Dr. Nemesis. I'm like, I need more of this character like now. I mean, because I've always liked Nemesis, just because he's such a weird character at times. But the way he's written in this, I'm like, I need this man to have like an ongoing series written by Spurrier.
Is this a newer series?
Wasn't he the first COVID mask wearer?
Exactly.
Did he wear a mask on his face like Michael Jackson?
That's what I said. I posted on the Twitter. I'm like, Marvel not having Dr. Nemesis do a mask up campaign is really a missed shot.
Right.
But yeah, yeah. But
he always wears white.
Yeah, he always wears white. He always has the mask on with the troubadour hat thing.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually seen this character. I mean, I've read the X-Men. I kind of got out of it at the Claremont, so there's some.
This is after Brubaker. Yeah. So he was in for a while. I forgot when he got introduced, but he went
to X Factor, right?
He went to X Factor, but yeah, I think he got introduced in Brubaker, went to X Factor about the same time they're doing the Second Coming storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, he came back into the main line for Schism, and then and then that's when they made the X Club, and then X Club carried over into X Force, and that's where we got his secondary design.
Now, X Force. Not what was the?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Wasn't there? What was the original name? Oh, it was Ecstatic.
There's
That's what it
Ecstatic. Yeah. So yeah, there was
Ecstatic.
that. Yeah. So Ecstatic was because they did New Mutants, which was like they're like, hey, wacky teens, and they did X Factor like wacky teens, but also Scooby Doo.
Right.
Then they did then they did X Force and Ecstatic in between, but X Force is when they when Cable first got introduced, and then he got shoved to X Force to deal with Apocalypse first time. But then we got the
Yeah, that's the one where Cable had the big honking metal arm.
yes, and that's the new Dr. Nemesis ish. Before now, he's working with X Corp on Krakoa. Yeah.
I didn't like him.
It was
I like
old.
the classic. I like the classic friggin' fedora.
The fedora, the mask, and the white suit. Yeah. That's what I'm like.
Now he's just mad.
I know. Hey, Marvel, if you want to give me a job, I got all the mutants are alive again on one island. If a perfect time for a science team. I got X Club again. I got some ideas.
I wonder if they're going to if they do the X-Men in the Marvel Universe, I wonder if they're going to do the Krakoa storyline or put that in.
That is, even for like people reading the comics for a while, the reason why Krakoa has done so well is because it is essentially just a giant
living island.
It's a giant living island. It's also a giant lore pill. They're like, hey, this property's been like mainline comics have been kind of saying it for a little bit. What if we just like fundamentally shifted everything in the universe so it feels like you're reading something new?
Mm-hmm.
Which it's done well, it's worked, and also you're reading something new now. It's been great, but I feel like they'd have to do something that is a bit more digestible. They might try to save the Apocalypse storyline after what Fox did to it, because they're probably gonna they're gonna burn the Fox X-Men, but I feel like Apocalypse is a very good starting point, because then you can set up a place for bringing in different characters. You can be like, hey, this might be an offshoot with X-Force because they're going to help out here. You might see some New Mutants or whatever. It's going to be a little bit they can do. It's very easy to pick and choose for that one.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what villain. If they Apocalypse, I'm sure they're going to do Magneto.
Yeah.
I would love it if they did Sinister and the Marauders.
Sinister would be great.
Was it? I saw something. So they posted a video of whatever the new 7 was, it 94 or 97 X-Men 97, I think it was, right?
Yeah,
they're making a season of that. Yeah,
I had to stop it, right? I'm like, is that the Nasty Boys? That would be freaking awesome, right?
Right.
The Nasty Boys are in it. The Nasty Boys were Sinister's group of people to battle X Factor when it was during when Will Spertasio was doing the artwork for X Factor, right? And he's got one of them that has these rocks across his back, and every time he gets hit with them, it pops out other little dudes of himself. And then Gorgeous George, the guy who
Gorgeous George also in Sword right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's like Magneto's pet.
Oh
my god! When I read the X-Men, they had Mr. Sinister had the Marauders.
Yeah,
when that was Sabretooth was part of that. And then the Nasty Boys came later.
And was it Vertigo and Headhunter?
Like Riptide, the guy who could spell Ninja Stars or whatever.
Polaris was with him for a little bit after the dissolution of the Brotherhood. Yeah,
and then the lady who could make vortex, she can make you dizzy.
Vertigo,
yeah. There was some, but that was, and I think wasn't that the fall, not the fall of the mutants, the Mutant Massacre. I think that was the first time.
Mutant Massacre.
Yeah, that was Mutant Massacre, part of M, and then they stayed with him throughout M Day, going from the Brubaker run into Messiah Complex and Second Coming.
Yeah, Mutant Massacres where Archangel or Angel got his wings crucified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the first time Wolverine met Sabretooth, I think, in the comic, wasn't that? It was not like this is first where the two met, not appearance, but met. I think it was.
I feel that you were right.
Yeah,
I feel that you're right.
But it's been a while. Yeah, I remember. I liked the storyline because it was down in the Marauders had Angel on Crusader with his wings or whatever. Yeah, that was one of my favorite storylines.
The Marauders went and killed all the mutants that were in the sewers and whatnot.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, yeah.
Morlocks. They went down to
The Morlocks,
they were
yeah.
they
Yes,
were
yeah.
just it was like genocide.
hmm
Yeah, and then the X-Men. That was when.
Yeah, and that
It was
first back
great stories back then.
it was great. First Caliban to join the X-Men. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Marauders are always a super nasty.
Yeah,
And
and they had the
yeah.
guy with the guns. He could like make guns. Or I think it
Headhunter.
was.
Headhunter, yeah.
Yeah, he had all kinds of stuff on him. He like a piece whatever the metal he had together
Hmm.
into guns.
Yeah,
It
and it
was
was then like it wasn't ammo. Like his mutant power gave the energy to the guns or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Headhunter was cool. Yeah, they had really cool. I don't know. They had really cool storylines back
I
then.
like was it Donald Pierce and what are their
Oh, the
I want to say Reapers, but that's not right.
the Reavers.
Ravagers?
Reavers.
Reavers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did them in that Logan movie to a degree.
Mhm.
Of course, they couldn't never do the one who was like half tank tread, half man. I think it was like Skullbuster. Or
They
something.
could have. If we can get Mario and Luigi with like
Yeah, we can get-
jumping boots, we
Yes.
can get half tank guy.
That guy was that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
I always liked
that's-
those, and the fact that they even brought them in.
well, Tread also voiced by Chris Pratt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? Also,
guy does everything. Oh man.
you're our guy, Chris. You're our guy.
And then I saw, wasn't my friend was talking about the new Spider-Man trailer? My nephews always call him Spooderman.
Yes, because
Nice.
Spider-Man and Batman, the YouTube thing. Yeah.
Right.
It's I don't know. It was I kind of like I thought the trailer looked kind of cool. I'm not really. What are you guys' thoughts on bringing all these movies in? It's not the only movie doing this. It's some other movie that's bringing. It's not Batman. Is it the DC films? I guess DC's kind of bringing in Michael Keaton's Batman or whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah, Mike.
yeah.
I think if it ties in well with the story, like they have had different things recently where they've interacted with like the whole multiverse and crap like that. And I know it's supposed to play a part into like the whole Doctor Strange movie,
Yeah.
but like I don't mind it because I liked Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
loved Alfred Molina
Molina,
as Doc.
yes.
I loved best freaking Doc Ock like I could have ever picked. It would have been Alfred Molina. It was
Yeah.
perfect. And then I don't think that they did Jamie Foxx justice as Electro
No.
in the first movie but like what I've seen of him coming back, I think like they definitely upped him. Like okay, we've heard from the fans they did not like Electro, right? So we're gonna go ahead and give him something else.
It's strange
So
enough.
there's like the scene in the trailer where like he's like bolting up and whatnot, and then like that lightning like design on his face of his mask in the comics.
Oh yeah.
Appears. You know what I mean? It's like it's electrical sparks coming off his face. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They almost kind of did put the Sinister Six in there without putting the Sinister Six in
Right.
there.
Yep.
And so
So yeah, my hot take on that is that because they already explained the death of Mysterio, the sixth is going to be a Venom who will then turn good halfway through because of the Easter eggs we got in the last Venom movie where he constantly referred himself as the Lethal Protector, which was the storyline with Venom and Spider-Man in San Francisco fighting against the Sinister Six.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how I feel. I don't know. Like I said,
Yeah.
I read some Spider-Man's growing. I was not in the Spider-Man much growing up, but it was interesting. And like I said, DC's doing it too, where I'm like, in other words, I think like, would I rather than just make up new ideas, like stealing other movies and putting them in? It's like, well, yeah, but I like to see it like somebody's new take on like know Doc Octopus, like use the same actor but do like a new vision. I don't know. Sometimes it's like let's reuse the past. I'm like, well, no, you got all this technology. Do anything you want. Let's do some cool new stuff. I don't know. I mean,
not to get into my own personal political views about DC Comics and whatnot, but I don't think they can. Like, there's a lot of great stories, and there could be a lot of other great stories, but I don't think they're giving it the justice to be able to do it, to be able to make them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just my opinion.
The Batman movie looks fantastic. And I still think Batman works better in his own universe. I don't know why. I think it's because he's just a street level character.
Yeah.
Unless it's Ben Affleck, then he has to be in with the rest of the Justice League. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I love you, Ben. You're my guy too.
I am super stoked to see what they do at the new Batman movie, but I think there's some Batman writers when they took over, they point out like the fundamental difference of like why Batman always feels different from the rest of the DC universe. And Batman says, he said this several times. He's like the Justice League fundamentally are good people. I am not.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will
Right.
actually, and so it's, and it's, or I mean, Batman. They've really had the right Batman into. He's hanging out with the most powerful people on the planet, but he's smarter than everyone else. So he's actually like the main threat in the Justice
I'm
League.
telling you, it's only because he wants to get to know them, so he knows how to beat them.
Yeah.
Like that.
So
That's the only reason.
I don't know. I'd be curious to know. I know they're trying to reset the DC universe with the Flashpoint storyline, which I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. I think I almost kind of just wish sometimes now after seeing that new Batman trailer, I'm like, I'm actually kind of missing the days when superhero movies are just their own movies and not connected with other.
Right.
Am I the only one like starting to miss like when I saw the original Blade movie? Like I loved that, and it was his own thing, and I don't know, like this whole like
And now
connect. I
was it
feel
Blade
like
and what's the other Blade and
the Black
Knight
Knight, I think.
are
coming.
supposed to
so
be like
here's-
connected.
Here's also I have a whole thing with so here's what I'm saying. So Oxygen's Multiverse of Madness, even if they don't touch X-Men proper for like several years, I think this is the prime time to introduce mutants. And they have two mutants they could pick from. Either Jamie Braddock, the King of Avalon, who can play with the strains of reality, so he can help Doctor
Right.
Strange's immediate issue. But also, he's the brother of Captain Britain.
Oh yeah.
Or Pete
Okay.
Wisdom, who is the perfect spook man.
I love Pete Wisdom.
I posted this earlier, so hopefully you saw it. But I got the Wisdom solo series mailed in, the one they published under Max.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm stoked to reread that. But
Was it Max line? Was that more edgier line that Marvel did?
yes,
for
that's
Yeah.
all. Now it's just Marvel Max, and that's what they R-rated Punisher under the Marvel main line.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like a while that was
it was Apache Skies was under there. They had
Yeah.
I love that book. That book was great.
Wasn't that
But, yeah.
Alias under there too?
Alias was was
Yeah.
the first one, yeah. But they repeat Wisdom because they could use it because, well, one, he should have his own show where it's like an X-Files style like procedural, but when they get into something more like mixing like the government level spook stuff, dealing with Hydra and Shield being messed up, and then tying that into cosmic stuff, he's a character who can do both. But my main bet would be in Jamie Braddock because he can solve Doctor Strange's main issue. He's also the brother of Captain Britain, who was part of MI13 with Black Knight and Blade when they fought Dracula. Morbius has also direct connection to Dracula. So
They might. I mean, they put
Yeah.
Star Fox in the movies,
I'm
and I told my friend. My friend looked at me. She's like, "Who's this character?" I'm like, "That's Star Fox." She's like, "I thought that was a video game." I'm like, "Well, yeah, it is." But
yes, but this one is much more problematic.
this one's
Right.
much more problematic. It's just, and it's like, well, what's wrong with the character? I'm like, he was just dumb. I mean, there was just,
he really was.
There's Errol Flynn sort of Fox like. I don't know. I remember time he showed up in the comic. I was like,
Did you did you read? I don't remember what book it was in, but there was an issue where Star Fox did the eulogy for Thanos' death or his funeral. Oh, that was so bad.
But it's out of all the. I thought when I saw that scene, I thought they were going to introduce Adam Warlock because they've been teasing that forever, and then Star Fox.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
don't
wow,
think
you
that's coming
went
out
from good
till
to the.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think Adam Warlock's gonna be in Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he's gonna pop up halfway through.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna do something where it's like, I'm here to start the Infinity Patrol. Like we're way past that. Like, what do I do now?
Well, it's just like my friend looked at me. She's like, "What are these characters?" I'm like, "Okay, look, they started out with A characters. They skipped B and C and went for the D characters.
Yep.
Some of these characters are introduced in the Marvel Universe. I'm like, there's a reason why we don't like them. So whatever you want."
Yeah. So I think the idea with Eros is gonna be because he is a empath, and they've already talked about like him and She-Hulk might be like, if you want a lawyer in the Marvel Universe, you want one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So with now the Eternals essentially being held on trial, where I think it's going to be the Living Tribunal is going to be hearing out the Celestials versus the Eternals, and Eros is going to be their defense lawyer.
Oh, Living Tribunal. One of the heads for the Living Tribunal has to be like Oswald Payton.
Oh,
I'm just saying. God.
I still
All
never
right,
seen the TV
geez.
shows. I've never seen the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, or Loki. I started
Winter
watching
Soldier
Loki.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
The last episode to me did not do it for me. Like the big
I tried to
reveal
watch.
about like, but I was just like,
Yeah. I tried to watch WandaVision with my friend, and we just couldn't get into it. I don't know. We tried.
it was a little wonky.
I really like
Oh.
WandaVision. It was very different. It's if I have to have like a certain appreciation for I Love Lucy to really get into it.
Right.
Yeah.
I do know that they were basically, it was their version. Oh, great, we're being invaded.
Yep.
So anyways, I know they were referencing the sort of idea that Scarlet Witch has dealt with mental instability in the comics, and that basically I know she went nuts and killed. Wouldn't she kill half the mutants? Wasn't that it?
Yeah.
It was like her child
Yeah.
died, and then she went. So I kind of wonder if they were going for that storyline.
Wasn't it both? Like she had two kids, right? Didn't they both die or something like that? Or was it just one?
I'm not sure in the story. I think it might have been two. It's been, I know, and then that started the House of M. Wasn't it the House of M story
Yeah.
that
Yes.
started
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So, these people, these people who write stuff like this in the message boards, like the people who do graffiti, and you walk on graffiti and they write "F you," and I'm like, really? Out of all the things you can write, all the witticisms, anything you can write, you write the most like dumbest thing, like straight to the word. So when I'm reading these comments, it's like, I guess this stuff's supposed to insult me somehow. I guess.
Yeah.
Like when I was supposed to walk by the sign on the street and then somebody spray painted "F you," and I'm like, wow, I'm insulted because some guy thought of the most generic thing you can possibly spray paint on a wall.
No.
So, anyways, what was the how much did the Winter Soldier stuff tie in? That just pretty much introduced the new Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, I think part of it, because without giving away any spoilers for it, like I think part of it bridges into like another season, but I mean, I don't really think it tied into any of the MCU stuff, like the movies.
I think isn't he supposed to come in the movies as new Captain America?
Falcon, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was what was the third series? And then it was like WandaVision, and then Loki. Loki introduced Kang, didn't? And I didn't watch all that, but somebody told me they introduced Kang.
Introduced Kang, and it sets up. Loki probably did the most to set up the next phase of the MCU.
Okay, did it really?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to watch, because I watched the first episode. It was, my friend really wanted to watch. I was kind of waiting for her, so maybe I'll go through and watch those. I did finally watch The Mandalorian. I'm super slow with TV shows.
Yeah.
Like I'll get around to I'll get around.
I mean, they're just now getting around to Seinfeld, so.
Yeah, I know. It took me years to finally watch X-Files. I usually a lot of because I'm usually drawing. I watch TV while I draw, do artwork. So it's one of these things that it's very hard for me to watch stuff with a lot of action, because I'm usually drawing. So if like action or something happens off screen, so
then
those shows,
look up.
right? I have to look up. So a lot of those shows, I try to take time out to watch them. I don't always have time. So shows with action, I have to take time out. But like Seinfeld, you just listen to it. No, I can listen to it all day. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I don't care.
Yep.
So
yeah. So we'll hit our top of the hour ad break. I had to actually make this one because Roland hasn't made that yet. So, but we do have 2 new books available for pre-order, which you can get at that link down there. And this is Twilight Game number 3. This is the 3rd in a 4-part series, and White Devil number 1, both written by R.A. Jones and featuring a array of staff such as our own colorist Phil Leon. And yeah, this is again.
Oh, did Phil do the White Devil one?
Yeah, he did the colors for White
Yeah.
Devil. Yeah, and so yeah, this is featuring Twilight Grim is of course the story of the vampire hunter Twilight Grim living in the Blood Zone in a post-apocalyptic world where the major metro is split between vampires and mortals. And White Devil is a cyberpunk Neo-Japan samurai story, essentially featuring a cyber samurai hunting down a ring of child traffickers. So
Nice.
both available for pre-order right now on our Kickstarter, so go ahead and hit that.
Is it White Devil like more of a sci-fi? It's supposed to be like in the future. I haven't read that one.
Yes. Yeah,
Yet.
it's it's cyberpunky, yeah.
Yeah, it looked cool. I know there was like a robotic centaur, like
Mhm.
female centaur or something. That was,
Yeah.
so what was the and then the Grim. He finally put my cover up. So I did a cover for the Twilight Grim. And I think Quentin did too, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So
And we're pretty close to funding both of them already, so
Nice.
what was it? We are at 2,039. So
Yep.
maybe a little over 400 left.
yep, a little over 400 left. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we also got another couple of weeks to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I still have to go and put it on that because I want to get it.
Yes. Alrighty. Well, we're getting back to our main subject tonight after our first hour of just kind of talking about a lot of things.
We are really good at that, though.
We're really good at it. Yes.
I think that's kind of half the fun, is just kind of going off in these random conversations.
Yes. So our first conversation, we were talking. It is Nerdsgiving, and the primary thing you do with a ton of nerds on the table is eat a lot of random food. So the first question we have tonight: Thanksgiving food. Some people like it, some people don't. Is it better Thanksgiving food served as intended on the platter, or served in a sandwich the day later?
You're talking about turkey.
Turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, the whole nine.
And I'd say probably, I'm going to have to say the sandwich. This year, we're actually making gumbo and fry bread for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. That sounds so good.
We
what
haven't
time's
done-
dinner, Aaron?
Yeah, when they're coming over.
I
Yeah,
know.
we'll be over.
Yeah, my friend has a gumbo recipe, and she learned from her stepdad, and we talked her into like, you got to make. She's okay. I'm like, and I help her make it too. So, but it's good stuff. Yeah, and then we make fry bread. I know we quit. I think it was a few years ago. We kind of kept doing the traditional Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know. We decided, well, if it's only immediate family. I'm like, well, why don't we just eat whatever we want? So some years we do turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we like doing it traditional. I know my
Yeah.
family, when we would get together for Thanksgiving, it was a huge event because I have a ginormous family. So, like, everyone would come over to grandma's house, and so grandma wouldn't even cook. Like, she might make a couple things here and there, but like, it was always the sisters, my aunts and my mom, that would make all the dinner. And my wife grew up Mennonite, so she isn't Mennonite, but she grew up in that
in that family,
environment. And growing up Mennonite, you learn to make everything from scratch. And so my wife loves to cook. So like the turkey, she's getting up tomorrow, and she's like, I need to get up, and I need to make this, and I need to make that. I need to go buy this so we can make this, this, and this. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'll either be sleeping or drawing. You let me know where you need me when you need me.
Yeah.
But like, she's like taking it all on. She's like, I'm doing the turkey, I'm doing the stuffing, I think she's making a pumpkin pie and something else. My mother-in-law is making pecan pie, which is one of my favorites, and it is going to send me into a diabetic coma, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, trying to think of the last time I'm not sure if we're having a dessert or not. But her gumbo's usually, good enough. And is there such a thing as a fried turkey, like fried turkey? Have I heard of this?
I
And for
mean,
some reason,
deep fried it. You can deep fried turkey.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking and stuff. So, do you guys make like the good gravy and all that for your turkey?
Oh, everything from scratch, buddy. You
Uh,
darn right.
that was always my favorite. It's funny. Turkey is actually it's a tasty meat. It's a pretty bland meat until you pour enough gravy on it, then it becomes
Yes.
super tasty. Yeah,
Say,
yeah, turkey sandwiches.
traditional Thanksgiving food has felt really bland with me since I lived in Orlando. My roommate was half Cuban, so every Thanksgiving we went to like eat with this Cubano family, and like the way they season stuff is just so good.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't get like that way since. But no, I am 100% on the team sandwich the day after.
I actually don't like turkey the day after as much, but like usually for us, like Thanksgiving dinner is around because my mother in law doesn't like to stay out late, right? So usually dinner's like 2 o'clock, maybe 3, maybe 4. You know what I mean? Early lunch or late lunch, early dinner, and then 6 o'clock rolls around and we're all like ravenous still after we've woken up from our tryptophan nap, and that's when like the stuffing has had time to sit and like is delicious, and the green bean casserole is amazing, and oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put back every pound I've lost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
all that weight loss during COVID. Well, I think then people gain weight during COVID. Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Like the median weight across America went up like 15 pounds.
Right.
Yeah. No. I'll be back in the boxing gym on Saturday puking. Probably.
Well, did your toe healed up when you hurt your toe?
Oh yeah, my toes are now no longer broken for the most part. So I can throw round kicks again, but and now one of them is like only like half a nail, which looks super weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lost one of the nails. Yeah, which is weird because
Like you hit it with something?
Oh yeah, so we're throwing round kicks in sparring, and I lost form halfway through. I was going for a round kick, and then I kind of like turned halfway into a European Dutch style like heel strike,
Yeah.
but then catching my toe just right that ended up like ripping the nail as I connected.
Ooh, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
You know how you stop yourself from doing that, right? You clip your nails.
Well, no, yeah, that's the thing. It's like the nails were clipped. It's just that when you're throwing it at the point where, like, you could potentially break bone, which
Right.
also happened. Yeah,
Jeez.
So
that was super fun.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
you.
I'm definitely a turkey dinner is the best. Like dead on when you have it.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. No, we still like turkey dinners. We were just mixing it up a few seeds. We like tacos and stuff one year or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's just me and my mom, my friend Summer, who comes over. Part of my immediate family moved to Oklahoma, so it's just us, and so we're just like 3 people. I'm like, well, we don't want to make a ton of food, so we just make that.
That's fair.
Gotcha.
So
Yep. Let's see there. We are going to head over to the next question, which is we've hit our Thanksgiving main course. Of course, as Aaron mentioned, you might have gumbo. You might have a lot of different foods. So something that we have done a couple times if we're just grilling and don't feel like actually doing a full turkey is how do we feel about hot dogs? Are hot dogs a sandwich? Would you consider a
I think did we have this conversation a while ago on one of the Silver Lines?
I think we had that on Wednesday Wham, but yeah.
Yeah, it technically satisfies the meat between 2 pieces of bread. It satisfies the sort of idea of a sandwich, I guess.
The concept of a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I've actually eaten hot dogs between the actual 2 pieces of bread too.
Yes.
Which is actually really tasty. especially sourdough. I don't know if you eat hot dogs and sourdough bread, that's actually kind of tasty. I don't know why, but I like it. So
There was one year, I think it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and my wife and I left. We were supposed to bring the main course of the food, right? I think it was Thanksgiving. I feel that it was Thanksgiving. We left it at our house, and we were going to my mom's house, and
Perfect.
we ended up going to my brother. We're like going to my mom's and then going to my brother's, and we
Mhm.
stayed the night at my brother's. And the next day, we're like, all right, where's the food at? And we're just like, oh crap. Um, is the gas station open? That year, we ate gas station like frozen pizza
Nice.
holiday meal.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like frozen gas station pizza, Funyuns, and whatever sodas we can get at the time.
How old were you then when that happened?
This is when me and my wife first got married. So
Oh, okay, all right.
Perfect.
15 years ago, 16 years ago. Yeah, it was hilarious. It's like this is a memory we're never gonna forget. Like, remember that time when we had gas station food for our holiday meal? Yes, yes, we do. Can we not?
Oh, yeah.
Can we not reenact this?
What was it? Isn't there like a big movie coming out? Like there's I thought there was a movie starting like tomorrow or something for the holiday, like on a Wednesday for the holiday. Because usually there's no
Oh,
like
I
a
have
movie
no
coming
idea.
out. I think there was like because I think last year like didn't they release like Wonder Woman? I think we watched Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah.
and for like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, I think we watched it. Now I'm curious to know. I know they released is Shang-Chi's on Disney Plus to watch just to stream, right?
I
Right.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have a friend who wants to see that, so I might do that. So, do you guys
Yeah,
watch like
I'm waiting to see if my wife wants to watch it. If she
Oh,
wants
really?
to watch it, I'll wait and watch it with her. If she's like, nah, I'm not really interested, I was like, awesome, I'm gonna watch it on my own.
So, have you seen it yet?
I haven't. I haven't. I have to ask. Like for certain things like that, I have to ask. 'Cause there are times where I'll watch it, and she's like, "You didn't wait for me." I'm like, "My bad."
My bad.
I
Yeah.
was watching it to make sure there was nothing bad in there for you to see.
Yes.
You're
I was-
approving it.
I was vetting it.
That's
I
right.
was gotta sip the wine to make sure there's no poison in it.
That's right.
Yeah, Shang-Chi was probably my favorite of the comic book movies this year.
Yeah, I think the comic book movies, that was probably because it felt more like a martial arts movie. It kind of tied into the Marvel universe, but kind of not.
It was its own. It has its own
Yeah.
identity. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, I that's what I like. That's why I think I was bringing up before. Like, I kind of miss movies. They're kind of like their own thing
Mhm.
and not so tied into
Yeah.
the rest of this universe.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I get the feeling from it that it's very much like the first Iron Man. You know what I mean? The first Iron Man
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be part of anything great. I don't think it was anyway, but like it was great as a self-contained movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
Yeah. All right. So my idea on this. So a hot dog by itself is actually just a sausage link, but served in the traditional dish, it's like a roll. It's served in a roll, so it's technically be like a wedge sandwich or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Served in a roll like a
Because
croissant roll,
a
peanut butter?
hot dog bun is a roll that's just been split open.
You're right.
Yeah.
What are the names of the hot dogs that are like in those croissants where they put the hot dog through like the croissant? Or isn't
Like
there
a
like a
pig in a
special name for
blanket?
them? Maybe is that it? Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like the hot dog and a croissant and whatnot.
Yeah.
I like rolled into it. Those are pretty tasty.
Yeah.
And strange enough, I there's a place near me that's a hot dog place. I haven't been to it yet. It's kind of hidden behind these trees when I drive, so I always forget about it. And I finally sound like I want to go check out like what is it as a hot dog specialty restaurant.
Right.
Besides, I
Yeah.
mean, how many hot dogs can you possibly serve? So I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
And I like chili dogs. I want to have really good chili
Oh,
dogs
yeah.
there. Like, yeah.
It's like if every time I go to Coney Island, I have to go to Chili Dog, and then every time I'm in LA, I have to go by Pink's Hot Dogs, even though the line there now is astronomical.
Yeah. The big line we have here is the In-N-Out burger.
It's insane. In-N-Out's great, but yeah, it like legitimately like it's 2 hours, so like I'll place my order online through like a DoorDash app or something.
Yeah.
Like I'll pick up in store, and then I'm like, I'll just wait for it to say like you're not ready for pickup, but I'll head over to like the Guitar Center or the REI that's in the same complex and just hang out there for an hour, get my guitar fixed or my snowboard worked on.
Yeah, and then just come. I think there's only one in Portland. Is there? Or is there more than one?
There's more than I think there's like 2 or 3 in in Oregon, but yeah, there's only one up where we are, and then I think the other 2 are down south.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we had a huge lines when they put the Chick-fil-A here, which is funny because most people quit and be like Chick-fil-A. They're everywhere down in like Texas and stuff.
No.
But up here, I mean, they actually remember. I think it actually made the. I don't know if it was the news, like the local news or something. Like it was so big that we had a Chick-fil-A, and I had it. I mean, it was good, but I mean, there were lines coming out of that. I mean, it was like this big new thing. Yeah.
I mean, yes. Well, like also just our franchising here is so weird, and like my specific suburb. I remember when you got a Taco Bell, there's a 30-minute wait because the nearest Taco Bell is like an hour away.
It's weird. Yeah, I know. Now, I mean, a Taco Bell. It's funny. Somebody finally did say I have a Taco Bell up near me that every time we go down there, like late at night, it's always packed. Like the line's going out into the street. I mean, it's out of the park into the street. And somebody said, like, yeah, but it's right next to that marijuana shop you have up here in Washington. I'm like, oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, that's a good point. That's a good point. Strategic location between the two, right? Like across the street, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We were at a wedding over the summer, and one of the groomsmen went out to get the food for everyone that's partying at the hotel, and in Oregon the recreational use is legal, so
yeah,
the rest of us were we were sober and fine, just chilling, and then we call this one guy to check on our orders, and the dude is just like, yeah, so you wanted like 3 tacos, right? Cheese or no?
Cheese
yeah.
or no.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And like, hey man, you're partying right now. You're living the best life.
Yeah.
Like, we used to have this place in Indiana where I lived. It was called Hot Now, and they served super cheap cheeseburgers. Like the hamburgers were like 40 cents, the cheeseburgers were 60 cents, and we would buy them by the bagfuls and just like carry them everywhere. And friggin' that's what we ate for like, I'm pretty sure it was like an entire summer and up until Christmas when like it closed down for a little while. But yeah, like that place, like I would drive an hour and some change to go there. I had a friend who drove from here in Florida, and he drove all the way to Georgia. I think it was Georgia, to go get a Jack in the Box. And I'm like, he was like, hey man, I got Jack in the Box. Like there's a Jack in the Box here? He's like, no, I drove to Georgia to get it. I'm like, does your wife know you left? He's like, I told her I was going to go get something to eat.
Perfect.
Road trips up there, road trips back. I'm like, holy
How long
cow.
did it take him to get to that Jack in the Box?
I think it took 8, maybe 12 hours. Like I think it was under 12 hours because it wasn't that far into Georgia when he got to it. But I'm like, who has that thought? Like, I want Jack in the Box, and I'm gonna drive friggin' through the state of Florida all the way up to Georgia to get some, just to come back.
I have a Jack in the Box just down the street from me, and I've never eaten at it. Let alone, and like, I think I ate a Jack in the Box once, and it was like, yeah. I don't know if I drive that far.
I did a 3-hour trip to go to White Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did a 3-hour tour. Yeah. Not in Florida. We had a place called Crystals. I guess was like White Castle, but I liked White Castle, so I wouldn't go there because I didn't want White Castle to think I'm a traitor.
Yeah. So, I was in Florida. It was all about Steak and Shake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steak and Shake.
I never. I think our big one up here is the Burgerville.
Burgerville, yeah.
Down in Salem, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's also like that's like just an Oregon, Southern Washington thing because it's all like, they get cheese directly from Tillamook, which is our big cheese area.
Dairy area, yeah.
We have an entire like economy built up on cheese. Just
nice.
One random, yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
As being lactose intolerant, it might be problematic for me, but
well, I guess.
Yeah. All right. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we are now on there for us. The show Twitch has died due to technical circumstances. Hopefully, get that fixed in the coming weeks. Next question: is cereal a stew?
Hmm.
Does stews have to be hot?
I don't know if like the hot
Well,
department.
there are cold
I know
They're
stews.
cold
there's a
stews,
cold stew, yeah,
yeah.
but like it's some sort of broth or liquid with some sort of
Would
chunk.
it be more? The better question is cereal a soup?
Well, because there's chunks of grain in it, so I think it'd have to be a
Yeah.
stew. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think if the milk in your cereal, be it almond milk, soy milk, regular milk, were the consistency of a broth of some sort or something
Yeah.
with a thicker consistency, then I would say yes. But that's like taking a bowl of Rice Krispies and throwing in some like watered down oatmeal and then eating it.
Yes.
I haven't had cereal in a long time. I used to eat, what was it? Was it not Captain Crunch, but the Cinnamon
Captain
Toast
Crunch.
Crunch?
Oh yeah.
And I think they still have it.
Reese's peanut butter crunch. That was my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm halfway on my way to pensioner. We do Special K here.
Oh yeah.
So
That
you
was it.
eat flakes of cardboard?
Pretty much, yeah. But high in protein. Lots of iron.
I did like grape nuts. I'll say that I did like it.
Oh yeah.
But grape nuts was good when you first eat it. If you let grape nuts sit, then it gets ew. It gets kind of
Mhm.
soft.
My
You gotta eat it.
stepdad would eat grape nuts and whatever else we had in the house and put it together. Like except for like the kids cereal, like Lucky Charms and stuff like that we used to get. Like it would be grape nuts and something else, and I'm just like, that does not look appealing at all. Like, why do you keep eating it?
Do you guys put fruit in your cereal?
No, that takes too much time. You just eat it on the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, no. I'll put peanut butter in my cereal, depending.
The peanut
I
butter?
can see
you
that
said?
though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I
I
can
see
see
people
that.
who always like in the commercials, like they have, here's your cereal and they cut fruit in it. I'm like, I've never met anyone who cuts fruit in
Yeah,
their
no.
cereal. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to find that person. I guess it's their way of like, look, if you're gonna eat our stuff, it's unhealthy. But if you add strawberries,
I
now
mean,
it's healthy,
it's
right?
probably the only way you can eat Special K. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do get the Special K that has like chunks of fruit in it. So, yeah,
Like with the freeze dried kind.
Yeah,
That's supposed
yeah.
to rehydrate in milk.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's something.
I've seen SpaghettiOs do the same thing. So no doubt.
Yeah. What was they don't put prizes in cereal anymore, do they? Or do they?
Like
When I
Uh,
was a kid, that was a thing.
the Dakota ring.
Yeah, the Dakota ring and all that.
I
When you
know.
want to get the prize out. And I don't know
yeah,
why.
now
I
it's
look
like
back.
collect this many box tops and send them in and pay
Yeah,
shipping
yeah.
and handling. And
Yeah.
like, wait, I gotta pay for it twice?
Right. That's like we have. There's a. I don't know if Aaron's familiar, but we have a pizza company out here called Wild Mike's Pizza. They do frozen pizza, but it's all like locally sourced organic stuff. Like it's pulled from like a farm in Happy Valley, packaged in like, and then like turned into pizza and packaged in Mount weeks. So it's weirdly fresh frozen pizza. But if you collect so many of their like barcodes and send them in, they'll send you like snowboarding merch, like hoodies and like beanies and stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that. Did you guys ever send in for like when you had the action figures? Did you guys ever clip the little things and send them in to get like was an Anakin Skywalker one? You had I never did that either. I had friends who did, but I never did.
No, we just would get as many people as you could to Mob Squad or Burger King or McDonald's when they had like Pokemon toys or Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
They,
it's funny because I remember like now I look at some of the toys they had for McDonald's. I mean, I remember getting the little plastic space eraser that didn't erase.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Or something like that. But now they have like little robotic transformers and actual like little My Little Pony dolls. I'm like, oh, look at this stuff. This stuff's amazing.
Right.
Considering what I got,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they still come in the.
And when McDonald's had their off like shipments where like things didn't come in, all of a sudden everybody's getting the 1 to 3 year old toys.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
All of a sudden everyone's getting frisbees.
Like getting frisbees
It's
or
like
whatever.
these little plushes about that big. That's it.
And they
Like,
started
enjoy
putting.
your Happy Meal.
They put like apple slices in the Happy Meals now, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to
I wouldn't have a problem with that, except for like there's so many preservatives on those apple slices. Like you can taste it when you take a bite of them. Because my daughter, my 12-year-old, she will eat apples all day long if you let her. right? She loves apples. She's real kind of picky about it though. She's like, I want Honeycrisp apples. I'm like, you realize Honeycrisp apples are like the most expensive ones. Yes.
Well, she's got
yes,
high
I do.
taste.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I know she does. She gets it from her grandpa.
There you go.
And but yeah, it's like she ate one of those. She's like, Dad, these don't taste right. I was like, well, let me take a bite of it. And I tasted it and I was like, you're right. Like there are like so many preservatives just to keep it looking cool and fresh, you know what I mean, in the little bags. It's like
Well, they
real
actually,
bad.
what was it? Somebody said like there was like how much sugar they extracted from McDonald's salad. Like there
Oh,
was
I
just a
believe
huge,
it.
Oh
like
yeah.
I was assuming from the dressing and stuff, but still, I was just like, and when I was listening to you with the apples, I'm sure they found some way to put sugar in the apples or something,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
That's
like in the
why you don't eat salads. Salads are dirty. Salads come from
Yeah.
the ground, and the ground is dirty. So you don't eat salads.
That's right. That's right.
I've told my wife this. I told my mother-in-law this. Like now my mother-in-law doesn't even bring the salad by me. She's all like, it tastes for everybody else.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Okay.
That's right.
Best caffeine delivery medium. So if you're a coffee, tea person, whatever, soda, I get my sponsor as my own personal streamer set up. Advanced GG. my stream team shirt, which they thoughtfully made in pastel goth colors for me.
Oh,
Yeah. You can. They have a like. Essentially, it's a diet, but without the weird artificial sweeteners. Diet energy drink
Yeah.
powder. So it's essentially like a protein powder or like a pre-workout, only without the stuff in a pre-workout that makes you feel like you're on crack. It's just some vitamin D, some vitamin B, 200 milligrams of caffeine, 0 sugar. Throw it into some water, shake it up. You're good to go. So that's been my go-to for a while.
I think mine is just soda. I like a soda.
Did you just say 200 milligrams of caffeine?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I'll do that, and I'll do like a cup of black coffee. So that gets me to my quota for the day, like 250 milligrams. I don't go above that.
Tim is vibrating all the time.
Yes. Well, the doctor
Gotta do it fast.
the doctor recommended it is under 500, so I'm under half of your safe daily consumption. One of my lifting partners,
500. Would you be able to vibrate through a wall?
I think
might
so.
be, yeah.
I want to see that.
It'd be like the cable level like teleport, where you just body slide through space and time.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my guys on my that goes to the boxing gym and that I lift with. His average is like 600 a day, so he's due for heart failure. I imagine at some point.
Holy cow!
But yeah, he also just had a kid, so.
Oh man,
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I think I just do the sugar. I think, and of course, sugar, caffeine, I think it'd be soda. I can't think of anything else. I really.
Right. I mean, if I could take coffee like intravenously, like
Oh yeah.
I would.
I was never a
But
coffee
I think
drinker,
coffee,
which is really
mostly coffee.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
never
I know.
really drank coffee that much. It's okay. I like it really hot if I do.
Yeah. I like hot black coffee.
Yeah, I like. Well, I used to put sugar, and I used to be like
Mm.
a bit of cream, and then like 7 or 9 packs of sugar in my coffee, and then I realized I can't do that anymore because
Yeah.
I'm evidently dying.
Mhm.
So now I use like sweetener substitute. I think it's like, was it monk fruit sugar, and then some other sugar substitute that we do.
Yeah.
I think stevia sugar or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. I'll use that,
Yeah.
but then I use significantly less because it's more. I feel it's more potent than sugar.
Sure.
So like instead of putting like just teaspoon after teaspoon, I'm sitting there like 1, maybe a half, and I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But I never drink like a coffee mug of
Mhm.
coffee. It's always like a tumbler.
Oh yeah. I know. If we had Peter Clinton, if he takes it straight from the bean.
Holy cow! I cannot express to you how much coffee that man drinks. I mean, I think that if you cut him, he pours coffee. I think that instead of drinking water, he would take coffee at all times. That man, I don't think I ever saw him drink water. It was coffee in the morning, coffee at night. And then when one of the girls from class came in came into the classroom in the morning. They're like, "Oh, hi guys, good morning." He's like, "Where's my coffee?" Every time.
That's
Like at
amazing.
one
Man.
point, one of the girls brought coffee from Chile for him. It was like super rich and
Yeah.
super potent. He
Yeah,
was in heaven.
that was Sid, right? Fellow
Yeah.
Silver Line-
Yeah.
yeah. She's great.
Yeah. Peter, yeah, because I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever seen him drink coffee on the air. Maybe he should. Maybe he should have like a cup of coffee like on the air when he's like
Right.
streaming
Yeah.
with us and stuff. Yeah.
It's like I get Peter on my my personal Sunday morning strain, which is mostly just me doing single player games, chugging coffee. Yeah.
I know, yeah. You know, the funny thing is, I like artificially coffee flavored like candy, and like a coffee ice
Huh.
cream is really good. Go
Okay.
figure. But coffee, if it's hot, it is okay. But I don't know. I have other family members that are really big coffee drinkers. But in the Pacific Northwest, I tell people like, "Do you go to Starbucks?" I'm like, "No, not really." And they're like, like
Right.
you know, I'm like, I just,
Sam, I'm super snooty. We're like, no, I prefer to go to mom and pop shops. Like, which I mean,
Yeah.
we do have several great mom and pop shops. So if I'm doing coffee, I try to go there because I mean, if it's just Starbucks or Dutch Brothers, I can just make better coffee at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
We
when
had a
Starbucks
really
started
cool
out-
mom and pop shop in Pennsylvania when I was
Yeah.
going to art school, and like we almost never caught them at the same time. Like when me and my wife would drive by, but there were those days where like we saw the open signs, like,
Yeah.
you
So
gotta
we're
go back and get
stopping.
your car.
yeah. And we'll stop and have like brunch and whatnot, and just they had like sandwiches. Like every now and then, my wife would stop and get a Cuban there, and
Ooh.
like man, it's like or
We
like
had
a-
some kind of mozzarella salad. It's some kind of salad with mozzarella balls and
Ooh.
whatnot. I don't know. It's really weird.
When I
I was like,
went
that
to
is like
the Kubert school, when you did, I lived in the I'm gonna say, I think it's the Clinton house.
the Clinton house.
Yeah, it was like an actual house
Yeah,
on the street corner. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the one I lived in. And down the street there was a deli. Some guy had a convenience shop, and then in the convenience shop he put a deli. I have no idea if it's still there. I mean, we're talking. I went in '95 to the Kubert school for a little less than a year, and he would make the best deli sandwiches. So we'd always run down after
Nice.
school and get these deli sandwiches that he would freshly make. And they were awesome. So well fed in that area.
Right.
I
I
have no
found a
idea.
place in Dover. It was like just past the school going
Mhm.
east, and it was me and a couple of friends, classmates, found this place called Cheeks, and they make chicken and waffles. And
Oh,
it
I've
was
never
like
had chicken and
I could get
waffles.
like so. Oh, listen, I had never had it before either, but like they had syrup for like real syrup for the waffle, and then like a garlic aioli for like the chicken. And I know it sounds like it's gonna taste nasty together, but like if you had just the garlic, it was kind of gross to me, right? It had just the syrup, it was super sweet, but having them both together, like that savory, sweet taste in your mouth, oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like I've
Yeah.
had other places down here that make chicken and waffles, but it's not anywhere as good. And we only ever went there was once because we were gonna like we went there and they were like, oh, this place is so great. We're gonna go again next week. And then we're like, we don't have any money this week. Let's go the next week. And so the next week we had money and like, oh yeah, we're gonna go. I think it was like we're gonna go like Friday. Like that's gonna be like end of the week. We're gonna go there and get right. And then like Thursday, they came up to us and said, oh, by the way, you guys are going home early for spring break. We're gonna move it up like 2 weeks. And instead of coming back at the end of spring break, you're staying home and we're doing streaming classes because of COVID. I'm like, are you serious? We didn't even get to go back. Like I was so mad.
So you finished up. When did you graduate the Kubert school?
2 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, same time. Like me and Pete graduated the same year, and our last year, half of it was done online.
Online. Oh wow.
Yeah, like via like Zoom or Google Hangouts.
That
Yeah.
was kind of. I remember going to school. I remember the classrooms are big, and I remember like most colleges you go to the classroom, but the teachers came to our classroom. That's how
Yeah.
they worked. At least I remember them. And then I remember I was on the first year classes, and then like on the other side of the school with like the second year, because I think wasn't the school 2 years or was it 3 years?
It's 3.
3 years. Okay.
I think it was 2 actually, and then became 3.
Then became
and
because I think it was 2 years when I went there,
Yeah.
and then it became 3 years. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. How was it doing it at home? That seemed because that was the thing that was kind of fun about being in the classroom was you were with a bunch of the artists.
Yeah, so my favorite part about class was that I could sit there and I mean, I've been collecting comics for a while. And when
Yeah.
I was younger, I didn't know who did the artwork. I just know that I liked it. And so I still have a ton of the old comics that I used to collect, right? And then I started going back and I was like, holy crap, I didn't realize Joe Kubert did this. I didn't realize Joe Kubert did that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize Jan Dursema did this entire run that I have. You know what I mean? I didn't know that. Tom Mandrake did all the friggin' Spectre issues that I have. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but to be able to like to meet them and talk to them and like Jan was the one that showed me how to lay out an 11 by 17 page, you know, and you got to like remark it so that the lines are correct and whatnot. And she's the one who taught me how to do that. And I understood it wrong. And I explained it to Tom when I did my pages. He's like, no, you did that wrong. I was like, but that's the way Jan showed me. He's like, no, she didn't. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's how she showed me. And I went back to her. And of course, obviously I was wrong. But like, holy cow. But like to be able to like sit there and talk like Jan, I don't understand. I'm not getting this. This is what I'm trying to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to make it do that. And so she was just like quickly just rough a bunch of stuff out, and I'm like, you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. I'm like, you're giving me so many options. I don't know what to do with. But I got to have that one on one, and it wasn't nearly as easy to do online. Like when we're doing it, I had to like
Yeah.
take a picture of it, email it to her. She'll
Yeah,
pull it
yeah.
up into her computer, Photoshop over it with on another layer to correct some stuff, and then send it back. It was just a whole lot of hassle. I mean, it was still fairly well. Doing figure drawing online was that was interesting because we had to use a specific website that did and it timed it so like you had like your gestures 1 minute gestures
I've
and then
heard of
5 minutes
this.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard of this. There was a website that had some friends at one of the last jobs I worked that he did that.
And
And-
Rain Workshop
Right.
3 was fantastic, turning our comic strips into full scripts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you went to Full Sail, didn't you, Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did 2 years did a year at community college here, and then then got my bachelor's at Full Sail.
Now,
Yeah, I
is
did
there
about
only
a
one
year and a
Full-
half at Full Sail.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Now, is there only one Full Sail campus, or is there multiple? Have they expanded out to make other Full Sail campuses?
There's one campus, but there is online, and I believe it's anywhere in the country, and I believe even like you can enroll, and then if you do some stuff, you can still get a U.S. accredited degree if you live outside the country.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the
I kind of
classes that
remember.
you can take online are not, unless they've changed it since I've been there, but are not the same classes that you take when you're there.
They've
Like,
changed it.
'Cause I wanted to take an illustration class, but
Oh,
they didn't have that online.
There's some options which aren't the same. When I was there, it's pretty close to one-on-one. Is just if you're doing film, you had to be there because you have to actually do stuff on the film sets.
That
But-
makes sense.
Yeah, but I believe for like writing, social media, and like they're mostly the same.
Okay. All right.
Roland,
Right?
and
The boss would know.
yeah, going from being my professor to my boss.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah.
so did Roland say he just got back from a movie?
Yeah, a family movie night. Yes. I was gonna say, we're a little off topic. So our last
Always.
question before, as always, our entire first hour we did not touch. I mean, for first hour is great. That's just Nerds Giving. You just get to talk to us about. Thank you. I try to not fall asleep in class. See, go posters. Nice. Aaron is saying he liked that. I know
yeah,
well enough
I
liked it.
really like that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably my favorite movie.
Yeah.
I'll usually pick a favorite movie every year. I think this year it would be Ghostbusters, and then
I
yeah,
am.
for this year I think it would be that.
I'm
yeah.
5 hands down on Doom. Like Dune was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Ghostbusters. Last year was probably the Justice
Indeed.
League
Yeah.
because I was a big fan of Zack Snyder stuff.
Okay. So we'll do our last question here before we get to our ad spot for the night and wrapping up. So what I was saying, well, I didn't say earlier, but I'm watching this last week. G4, the original network for gamers, they
It's
replaced.
coming back.
It's back. It is back, and it's great. Kevin Pereira is back. Adam Sessler is back. They got a lot of great talent, new talent on there too. It feels very familiar, but also very new, so I'm loving it. But I figured this is something that was on Attack of the Show every year for since 2001 until it closed in 2013. trying to get the Senate to confirm National Pie Week as a federally recognized holiday. Should Pie Week, March 1st through 7th, be a federal holiday?
I didn't even know there was a
No.
pie week.
Yes, because
There
it's
should be a pie
3.17.
month.
Pie
A
month?
pie month?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There.
Do you know how
Yes.
many pies are out there?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Not even counting like you got the classic, you got apple, then you have like Dutch apple, and then like you have an apple with like the lattice on it, and then you have
Yes.
blueberry, and then you have like what was it, cranberry blueberry, and then you have cranberry rhubarb, and then there's just rhubarb,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you have minced meat, and then like there's so many
There's so many pies.
There
Yeah.
needs to be a month to eat said pies, at least a
Said
slice of each pie,
Yes. I agree with Jose there.
right?
Yeah, pumpkin pie is so
My
good.
wife
but-
makes pumpkin pie from scratch, sir.
Yes.
Even the crust.
Oh, that
I
sounds
always
good.
liked the mud pie. That was my favorite.
Okay.
The ice
So-
cream-
so
ice
we're
cream
going
pie
to
and stuff,
So we're going to Aaron's house for the gumbo, but Jose's wife is bringing the pie. Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
telling you. So every year at the Cuber school, at Christmas time, my wife, there's these Amish cookies called, I'm gonna get the name wrong. I call them pumpkin nuts, but they're not. It's pepper nuts. It's made with anise, but not enough that it tastes like black licorice, enough that it had a little bit of spice to the taste, right? It was really
Yeah.
good. The peanut butter cookie with the kisses and chocolate chip cookies. My wife would make like several dozens of these, and I would bring them into school and pass them out to my fellow classmates.
Nice.
So much so that I had the staff and the students were like, "Hey, is your wife making cookies this year? Are you making the same ones that you did last time? Because I want more of those."
Yes. That's perfect.
But yeah, pie,
Yeah, I was
pie
never a
for a
big-
month.
I never was a big. I like mud pies. Never a big pie fan. I like some
I
cakes.
don't know what
I've,
that
I've
is.
never
What's
had
a
like a
mud
huge
pie?
sweet tooth. I was much more of like I like sour hard candy, like sour candies. But
So
not
you
a
might
big
like
sweet tooth.
you might like a key lime, or would you be down for
Yeah.
a savory pie, like a meat pie, or
Meat pies are good. Yeah.
yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, second.
Oh, mud pie does look good. I
My
don't even
mom
like
makes
chocolate, and that looks good.
Oh,
really good chicken pot pie. That's awesome.
oh
Nice.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Does that count as a pie, or does that count as dinner? Is that
Well,
dessert,
it's-
or is that
it is-
dinner?
Yeah,
it's stuffing encrusted under bread.
Yeah. So
Right?
Yeah,
it still counts.
The best
Yeah.
chicken pot pie I had was at Guy Fieri's. There was a casino.
Okay.
Casino in Pennsylvania, and in the casino they had a Guy Fieri's restaurant, and
Nice.
they had chicken pot pie. Oh my sweet
Oh.
Christmas!
I know that's like one of those
Oh.
things. Like every cookbook Guy Fieri puts out, it's always like a thing with chicken pot pie. Like that's like
Yeah.
his thing. Like he has a really good burger and really good chicken pot pie.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get it, and I've tasted other restaurants, but yeah, I think my mom's recipe is the one that kills it. Yeah.
Nice.
And there's a few foods I try. If I go to a restaurant, if they have a French dip or something, I always try French dip. If they have it, and I'm really big on Italian sandwiches, so I'll try to hunt down places that serve sandwiches. They have an Italian, I always got to try it.
No.
Yeah.
I will absolutely yeah. It's kind of unrelated, but I'll absolutely critique just like the quality of the rest of the restaurant and based solely on their chicken and waffles if they have it. Like I think bare minimum to get the 3 stars, you have to have chicken waffles, and then like to jump up to like 4 or 5, it needs to like the quality of each one.
I need to.
Yeah.
I need to finally have chicken. and waffles.
Dude, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
There's a restaurant
Everybody-
down
yeah,
here
everybody
called
loves it.
Metro.
Oh,
And they actually make the chicken. It's regular fried chicken,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And if you can do fried chicken well without like drying out the chicken,
Yeah.
then you have something right there to begin with. But they made they made waffles out of stuffing. They would
Nice.
take the stuffing mix, put it in the waffle maker, smash it down.
Oh.
It is absolutely amazing. Like I expect the sweet, but no, it's all savoriness. And man, I'm getting hungry, guys. Dang it.
I know. I'm just like talk about all this food.
But it's
Thanks,
yeah,
Tim.
it's the food show. You got to prepare the gut for
Right?
5 days of dying.
last
Yeah,
girlfriend-
caloric coma.
Yeah, but last
Thanks,
girlfriend.
Tim. It's almost 1 o'clock here. I can't go get no food. It's like 3 hours behind. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, guys, I'm gonna go grab a sandwich.
yeah.
Well, Taco Bell's open all the time, right? No.
Oh dear Lord.
No, how's your gut feeling?
Right? I can't.
And why
eat
is that?
tacos at Taco
Why
Bell.
is
I
that
just-
like an
doesn't-
evil food? Like at 1 or 2 at night, you're like Taco Bell. Every other part of the day,
Oh, talk
Tastes
about
like- you don't care. Late
Yeah.
at night, you're like, why is that?
I mean, it just settles weird, but for me, like the evil food is as Wawa because like it's always just like up in the corner, like it's like 3 a.m. We got nothing to do. Wawa macaroni bowl.
Might as well go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I will say, I don't think I ever actually really experienced it, but like Taco Bell is like that perfect like hangover cure. After you're drunk, you're hungry, and you want to go eat, and the grease from it and whatnot.
It's just so much grease and fat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the
I
same
mean,
thing
not
like?
that I ever like suffered that. I'm like normally like back in my drinking days, I would like drink and then I would stop once the room started spinning,
Mhm.
so that I wouldn't take it too far. And then there'd be days I would take it too far. But like, I'm so glad I don't do that anymore.
You know, like there are things where like you sip on like a drink throughout the night, and then you finish the night by drinking a gallon of water.
Right.
There you go. So problem solved. Preemptive.
Man, yeah, and talk about. I mean, even the burritos. It's like you look. It's like, well, it's technically a burrito, I guess. I mean, it's wrapped in a tortilla, right? I think that's a tortilla. I mean, what is it? It's like it's funny, and it's weird that I'm paying money for a bunch of kids in the back making my food. I mean, it's like I'm thinking, like, what other time would I invite a bunch of teenagers in to make my food in my kitchen? Yet I'll go to Taco Bell. I'm like, you got any 17-year-olds? Dude, I want them to make my food. Like, nothing against 17-year-olds, but I'm just thinking that's the last thing on their priority list is to make somebody else food, right?
I couldn't ever bring myself to eat a chalupa there.
Oh, I know, I never did.
Not for anything bad, but like growing up, we used to play. It was like Mexican bingo, and instead of like pulling out numbers or stuff like that, you had the cards and they had different pictures and whatnot. And it was like, pájaro and árbol, and you know what I mean. One of them was chalupa. It was a lady in a boat, and I'm pretty sure that's what chalupa means. Is boat.
Yeah.
The lady in a boat, like going down the river and whatnot. So every time I say chalupa, I can't. No.
It's like, well, I have we have some like family friends who, like I'm friends with like the kids, but their parents are like either like immigrated from Mexico or like first generation, and like they're raised like the traditional farmer's burrito, which is just a convenient way of packing rice, beans, and maybe some guacamole.
Yeah.
So like anytime you get something more than that, like what is this?
Yeah.
Like a burrito's not supposed to be this fancy.
And now you go to Taco, and it's funny. What is this huge thing about putting Doritos stuff? Like I went to Taco Bell and they made the Dorito shells, right? Okay, that's fine. And you expect that from Taco Bell. I mean, they always do stupid crap. I went to Applebee's. It usually never goes a long time. And they had this big thing like you get this Dorito like chicken things. Or I'm like, what is with putting Doritos? Like, I
used to put Doritos in my bologna and cheese sandwich.
Oh yeah.
You give it a little kick there, but it
and
was just like.
Grill it.
Oh yeah, my thing now is my work lunch is a ham and cheese, and then I'll pack in some like habanero cheddar chips, kettle chips into that. Oh, yeah.
Do they have now Tim's Cascade jalapeno chips up here? Is that national or is that just a local thing? I think that's.
I've never heard of it.
I think it's local, but they are part of the kettle chip brand. I think the kettle chip is more national.
Yeah. They make these like jalapeno chips. That's just not really hot. They're tasty, but it's the most like it must be the most popular flavor because it's the only one that comes in the party pack size, like the big bag. I'm like, okay, obviously the jalapeno ones, everyone likes it.
If you go to like a Walmart, you can get their like their salt and vinegar or their barbecue and the big party packs too.
Oh, can you? Okay. Because the ones I always see is the regular Tim's Cascade or the jalapeno when I go to the store in the big party packs. But those kettle chips are evil. I think I'm trying to think of the last time I had corn chips. I may have corn chips, but most time I buy chips, it's like kettle chips, anything. I don't know. Which is probably not, much better for you. Then I just
you don't eat chips for anything better for you, right? That's not why.
You don't eat anything. That's like, when I eat my high fat chips, I have a Diet Cola, right?
Make yourself feel better.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah. It's like, you can have your Big Mac, but if you have a salad with it, then it cancels it out.
That's right.
The Big Mac doesn't count.
Yeah.
It cancels that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is about that time again. So before we hit our ending ad break and call it for tonight, any final thoughts on any one of the 15,000 subjects in the first hour or on Thanksgiving, the food debates.
I'm kind of surprised we're not all just ginormous, looking like freaking Baron Harkonnen.
I know.
Yeah.
You like that? You like that spin
Yes, you just bring it back. You bring it back.
back?
But only if I can get the anti-gravity suit to float around.
Right.
If the thing was like, okay, you have to be as big as him. I'm like, if I could float, okay.
Yes.
Only if I get the float. Yeah.
So you got to remember that also. If you ever find yourself in a death situation, always an undeath situation, always make sure you have your blush of life or your pallor prepared so you can still enjoy food and it doesn't just turn to ash in your mouth.
I did think it was funny.
That's our other callback for the night.
That's right.
To the top of the ceiling in that one scene in the movie, and I was always like,
to avoid
the poison. Yeah.
Like I almost stopped myself. Like, oh, spoilers! But no, wait a minute. These books have been out forever. If you have not read them by now, Tim said that earlier. Like, if you haven't read it by now,
that's on you. It's like it's a 60-year-old book. Like, this is on you.
And I really gave away the major plot. Like that whole thing gives away everything.
Yes.
So,
that's right.
No, wait until I tell you about the man who turns into a worm who turns into a god.
Oh man!
Alrighty. Well, this has been that Silverline Show on Tuesday. We have been your hosts, and we have hopefully made you geek out and made you hungry. What you can do to pay us back is head on over to our Kickstarter and back Twilight Grim #3 and White Devil #1. You do get these in a flip book, so 2 comics combined, physical or digital. Twilight Grim, of course, the our own vampire saga. If you've been enjoying our talk about Vampire the Masquerade, featuring Twilight Grim as he saves the humans trapped in the Blood Zone, and White Devil #1 featuring some Neo Tokyo cyberpunky goodness with the cyborg samurai stuff. Super stoked for both these titles. All right. Again, this has been That's Silverline Show on Tuesday. Come back to the channel for Wednesday Night Wham, and again for Silver Sunday. We'll be back. Well, I'm not sure if we'll have Wednesday Night Wham because it is.
No, we're not.
We're not.
I was just saying,
We'll be back next week for another round of rambling. But
still eating turkey leftovers.
Still eating turkey sandwiches, leftovers. Yep. Yeah. There you go. Until that time, make mine Silverline. We'll get it one of these days. We need a prompter.
Right? We need a timer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of timers, here's the bumper.